Hello y'all, this is Red Flood, a mod for Heartspine 4 set in a world where there is no true victor of World War I. Out of the many countries of the world, we're going to play as the Brazilian Popular Republic. So right off the bat, at the beginning, let's send the entire army off to a single province in the northern part of Brazil. Our first 5 focuses are very critical because they will decide who will be the leader of the nation. First big decision here, which is deciding the delegates, let's choose the option of open democracy. For the venue that the council will be held in, let's choose a government building. We sent all these soldiers into one province earlier, but now let's have them exercise to keep them prepared in case an army of jaguars appears. Selecting the guards for the first council, let's go with the police. The outcome of the first council is firefights between the police and revolutionary militia, which is what we wanted to happen. The situation escalates into complete civil war. With that occurring, let's side with the Republic of Brazil. We're playing as them now, and let's see what our military is like. It's mostly cavalry divisions, but there is some infantry in there. A Japanese Brazilian militia joins the cause, led by one Hitachi Emamura. Let's bring them into our army and make their leader a general. Because of that event, we get a new infantry division, which I presume is the aforementioned militia. Because of that training exercise in the north, the Reds weren't really ready for this war, and we're going to grab as much land as possible before they get down here in force. They just couldn't get it together, and the Brazilian Popular Republic is no more. Now the Republic of Brazil has united all of the country. The counter-revolution succeeds. We'll go with the central authority because the other option will make Brazil resemble warlord-era China. We avoided a collapse and instead will be creating a, quote, salvation government. Let's try to expand a little bit by justifying on Paraguay, who is fighting Bolivia at this time. That didn't go as planned at all. We ended up gaining nothing, and we just made a big Bolivia instead. We can't start any political focuses until the 1939 elections. Until then, let's do some economy and trade ones in place of that. Opposite of those focuses, on the left, there is a branch concerning dealing with leftists and disarming the police. Checking in on the wars of the world, the Japanese Civil War is taking place, and heading over to Europe, Austria has eaten up Switzerland, and the Spanish Civil War is in full swing. The US is getting a little belligerent and attacks Costa Rica in Central America. Costa Rica is just going to get sandwiched because the Americans have occupied Nicaragua as a puppet and they control Panama. Costa Rica is beaten, and the United States is not satisfied because now they're going to go for the Dominican Republic. That war ends with an American victory, and the warpath continues onward to Guatemala, who fortunately does not have any borders with their enemies, but will have to deal with naval invasions. Fate of the state armies. We can either keep the militias or get rid of them completely. We will get some manpower if we get rid of them, but since we're Brazil, let's just keep them and get some war support and base stability. More fighting in Central America. The US invades Honduras, and once Honduras is gone, that will establish a direct front with Guatemala. All the focuses we can currently access are done. Now we just sit and wait for the elections to happen. It's here at last. We have 4 different candidates. Let's go with Gustavo Barroso, the monarchist. He becomes our new country leader. We get a new flag and become known as the State of Brazil. Sao Paulo is seized by some progressive thinkers, and we'll have Rio de Janeiro fall within a week, and the ruling party will change. The nation name changes to Pindorama, which is Tupi for the land of the palms, their name for Brazil. The flag changes again, and our new leader is Oswald de Andrade. Andrade historically was a poet, novelist, and cultural critic. He's one of the founders of Brazilian modernism, and his most important work is his manifesto, which, to simplify its contents greatly, argues for anti-colonialist cultural syncretism, which is expressed in metaphors involving anthropology. With the new head of the country, we can start his part of the focus tree, with the starting one just increasing his ideology popularity a little bit, while the title references a poem by Manuel Bandeira. The national focus icons are very well done too, I have to say. This one, for example, is an individual with their mouth wide open, ready to consume something. After the first initial focus, we'll go with primitive expression, which gives us a nice national spirit, then new migrations, which will give us a lot of manpower and monthly population as a buff, but will give us a negative decrease to stability. France sends us an invitation to join the League Solo. We're both accelerationists, so sure, why not? We're going to declare war on accelerationist Peru, which interestingly enough is named the endonym of the Incan Empire, so in spirit we have the Tupi versus the Inca. Joining in on the combat from out of nowhere, it's the United States. Muralism is taking off in Brazil as we are incentivizing it. The Americans naval invaded Peru. Hopefully they don't get to the capital before we do. Meanwhile, in Europe, our League Solar allies are battling in Italy. The war with Peru is over. We aren't going to get all the states as we originally wanted, but it is better than walking away with nothing. Our country establishes progressive torture chambers for conservatives. We lose manpower and stability, but gain political power. An interesting development while we're violating human rights. In Europe, Austria is fighting the Germans and their allies. Let's justify on the German Social Republic because while they're preoccupied with the Austrian Reich, it will be a good time to strike. The government burns down an art museum for oppressive art. Some so-called history teachers and, quote, archaeologists are included in the inferno, unfortunately. Another building is set ablaze. This time it is the National Museum of Rio de Janeiro. The justification on Germany is finished. Let's go in for the attack and hope they're too distracted to stop us. Meanwhile, in Eastern Europe, the Intermarium is fighting the Russians because Ukraine declared war on them. The offensive from France into Germany is going very well. Clearly, evidently speaking, they're very much busy with the Austrian Reich as expected. A lot of their provinces lack soldiers to protect it, so that will allow us to send troops all over the place to capture their land. It's safe to say Red Germany has lost, and their only important city remaining is their capital of Berlin, and they're going to lose that one soon. At the peace treaty, France and Austria will get most of the territory, but we will set up a puppet in Germany. That's over. A couple countries were annexed entirely, but the German state does exist now, and we will hand over this green-colored land we have in Europe. France is trying to make a deal with the United Kingdom. If all goes well, there should be no war between us. Cuba was the only member of the Third International not involved in that peace treaty we had earlier, so they will survive to see another day. Poland declared war on the Austrian Reich, even though the Austrian Reich just finished their own war with Germany since we won. And Poland and its faction is busy fighting the Russian Empire. I don't think that will end well for them. Just noticing this now, but the rump state of Prussia is fighting Poland and their allies. The Austrian Reich is being justified upon by avant-garde France. It could be because they control a state which they have a claim on. We were planning to justify on Prussia, but it looks like they're going to die, so let's instead go after Poland, who will probably still be alive at the point we're finished justifying on them. We go marching into Poland, who is sadly overextended, and the Polish are going to have a tough time fighting against us, the Austrians, and the Russians, and the Prussians. The government creates the National Foundation of the Native, or FUNAI. We get increased base stability but lose political power. Seemingly not satisfied with their current wars, the Austrian Reich declared another one on Yugoslavia. The Austrian Reich is just being crushed. They went from being a major player in Central Europe to not being alive. Because of their diplomatic relationship with the Austrians, we ended up fighting against the Prussians. Austria got carved up like a turkey, Yugoslavia gained some land, and avant-garde France expanded a little bit too. Prussia falls, we got nothing out of it, only France and Poland did. Continuing our war with the Intermarium, we've taken a lot of important cities and they are losing ground. It looks like Lithuania will be one of the last members of the Intermarium standing, but not for long because we're closing in on them. In Asia, Japan declared war on the UAJF. I don't know who the UAJF are, but apparently they are the United Anti-Japanese Front and they're located in Indochina. An event, White Flesh, we get base stability and base war support and manpower, but we lose some political power. The war with the Intermarium is all but finished. Poland is about to make their exit. The war has concluded, and we made puppets out of all the Intermarium members, including Poland, Lithuania, Belarus, and last but not least, Ukraine. I'm going to stop the video here. If you enjoyed the mod, make sure to check it out in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment. Have an awesome day. I'll see y'all later. Bye.